We'll call them the meeting to order. And as always, we first start with, do you need a roll call?
Chris Painter, present.
Eric Carlson.
David Newell.
Amanda Pruitt.
Nick Lavendera.
Rick Saster Keyser, and we do have a form.
Yeah.
So we will open this to public comments. Do you have any comments? Yes, sir.
I was just wondering if there's any idea where the prevailing winds are on this whole stadium thing.
We do not, I don't have any information. Whatever is in the news is unfortunately all I know.
Or
The CRA board hasn't made any difference.
in conjunction with that, I'm just wondering if there's any idea that the city is kicking around to declare any part of Drew Park as a blighted area.
I can't speak for the city as far as the negotiations that are ongoing. We're not privy to them. And Drew Park is considered a blighted area. That's why we are CRA. And part of what the CRA's mission is to reduce, eliminate some blight.
Thank you for your being here. Anybody else? All right, so we are, public safety is the police officers. I don't see them here today.
Sure.
So we're gonna have approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 3rd minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Right. We have several projects to get an update on. The CRA district project quarterly update. The second thing is city mobility, which is gonna be the bigger one here today, but I was expecting to get something about the park.
Yeah,
So, well,
yeah.
would
We're
that
gonna
be
get a full
included
update.
here?
This is the quarterly update, yeah. And then we'll go into mobility after that.
Okay, so then I guess I'll turn this over to Nick.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. My name is Nick Bennett. I am with the Project Management Division with the CRA. Joining me, I have Riley Park from Mobility, who is going to go into a pretty in-depth or more in-depth, dive into where we are with the mobility project. After recently receiving the 90% set of plans. But for now, I'm just going to do a quick overview of just where we are at for the other 5 projects. So the last time we were here, it was my supervisor, Melissa Martinez, who had given us or had given you guys assurances that we're going to come back on a quarterly basis. I think that that's probably going to be a better way to communicate where we are in all of our projects. They're all in different stages of either, conceptual design, construction design, some of them in actual, construction phase. So I'll just give a pretty high level overview of all of them and then open it up for questions if you guys have any. Yeah. So first up, this is just a copy that you all have in your folders, I believe, if you wanted to follow along with us. This is just the monthly report that we send out as well. So I wanted to have it here that you knew how it corresponds. First up is project number 1, which is the new neighborhood park project. Over the past 3 months, it's really just been in the public advertisement and bidding phase. So good news on that is that this bid closed out last month. There is a general contractor that has been selected and we're going through negotiations for what was advertised now with contract administration.
So, okay, I'll let you finish that part before I question.
Sure. What we want to get in the habit of doing is just communicating on the front end of this presentation, just all the milestones so that we have, you know, a constant run on where we've been with these projects. So we went through the project permitting period, we bid the project out. Those bids came back and we are working on awarding the project. Just as a quick reminder, this is the conceptual design and the site plan that was proposed and approved by the CAC. As far as ongoing site preparation and management of the site, landscaping is happening this month. If you drive by, you'll probably see that it's overgrown. We're trying to get someone on to take care of that here as soon as possible. And then, obviously we have our fence up and, our windscreen for sake of site security.
For the sake of people who may not know, can you give a little bit of a description of what's going into the park?
Yeah, of course. So, this park was, if anybody's hearing about this for the first time, this was, an acquisition by the CAC and the CRA. It's gonna be an entire, we're going to clear the site and then it's gonna be an entire design around new playground equipment. New landscaping, new streetscape outside of, you know, within the right of way. Just a regular, you know, your average, park improvement or park
Is
design,
there gonna be a shelter?
shelter.
I'd
So,
ask for one.
you know, those aspects of it, I'm really just here to talk about where we're at. I wasn't on the design portion of the project, so I don't have that detail on me, unfortunately. Sorry about that, but,
Can we get, something on the final design?
yeah. So the final design, I think everyone has
Hasn't
seen, but
changed.
hasn't changed at all.
Because I believe we do have, help me, I think we do have a, shelter, I believe the theme, is the theme, airport, like Field.
Aeronautic.
They're not, okay, so,
Yeah, but the river plan say you guys, a concept you guys have approved before is what they're moving forward with.
right, just to refresh,
Mm-hmm.
because it's been a while, so, okay, so the playground, I believe, is also ADA compliant, right? And there's gonna be some parking. And very in particular for a officer we asked for. And we also asked for lighting, a really good lighting, so there's gonna be really good lighting there.
Say officer?
Yeah, we asked for a park reserved for a police officer.
Oh, parking space for,
Yeah, so they can come and just see, you know, what's going on, or go sit there, feel welcome to sit down and do a report, or just, you know, monitor the area, or be around, because it is a kids' park, right?
yeah, off-street parking.
So that's why I really do think it might be a good idea to get an updated design to us of maybe what went out to the
Yeah,
consultants,
yeah.
you know?
So I think what we can do is, I spoke with Bryce, who is kind of the lead on this project, and he showed me the actual, like the bid itself today. And I think that the best thing that I can do is probably just give you guys what was advertised so that you can see the entire package and what was awarded.
That was good. One thing I think that Nick had brought up in the past is that, you know, in these agreements with contractors, that we really do need every so often to hear, you know, from them an update, which, you know, hasn't been in the past, but we have found a need for that. So when we contract this person, I do make sure there's at least one or two updates for us here. Okay,
And we also understand, sorry, to interrupt, that it just can't be arbitrary, you know, we can't just be expected to be able to ask them willy-nilly whenever we want them to come in. So I think it should be like online, maybe like a minimum of 3, one at the time of award,
Yeah.
one in the middle, and one when they hit substantial completion or whatever, but just, make it transparent so that we don't feel like we're asking somebody for something that they didn't include, but also we feel like we're getting all the information that we need.
Project kickoff,
Or a project kickoff.
or like when the project kicks off, can it come in? Is that possible?
Possibly. So I was gonna say, I was gonna say a moment. Yeah, I was gonna say a moment ago that, with projects going forward, what we wanna do, is on the front end of these projects as we're scoping out and negotiating and, putting the entire bid out, we wanna make sure that you guys have visibility of the public engagement element of it so that we aren't asking folks to come in outside of their scope of work, because typically what they want us to do is to quantify those visits and to be kind of explicit on the front end so that we don't have to make any, change orders, no amendments to that contract. And so that's something that we want to do a better job at working with you on.
So if I'm interpreting that, you're saying they are gonna be coming in to talk, so show us at the beginning? Yeah, I lost
We're gonna try
it.
to build it, well, can we build that into the bid?
The bid's done, yeah, the bid's done. I'll have to look at exactly what they're scoped for.
Engagement should.
And I mean,
All of our business.
I can't speak for all of us, but I think if there was some, small costs associated with them coming in here one more time, honestly, moving forward, again, we should be transparent, put language in there for it, but I think in these couple of unique cases, we need to pay for them to come in 1 or 2 times.
And I agree at the beginning and, along the way as well. I agree, 2, 3 times.
Yeah.
So,
And if you look at the duration of these projects, we may only get one while they're building, we have 3 months of construction.
the
So,
beginning and the other one. So then, once this contract is signed and they, then we'll need to expect actually relatively soon a visit from them.
So I'll have to look at that scope of work and see exactly where they're at on that.
So is that gonna be up to you, or do we need to make a motion, Felix, to request it?
Am I able to have that inputted if it hasn't been inputted yet? Or I don't think I can.
We're on the front end of the project, so I don't want to assume that it's not written into the contract. I just didn't write that scope. of
Right, he
work.
didn't write the scope.
Okay.
So, I want to come back to you all with that scope of work. And if it's not in there, then we have time, we're on the front end of it, so we have time to put it in.
I'll make sure it gets added into it if it's not added now.
Okay, perfect. So when do you anticipate that they will start this work?
So, CAT is working through and negotiating with the selected general contractor. Once they have gone through, once that contractor has signed the contract, we have to put it through city council. That takes 3 to 4 weeks. And then it needs to be executed by the mayor. That takes another 3 to 4 weeks. So we're thinking a couple of months until the contract itself is executed and we can mobilize and be out there.
Talking October? Maybe.
Pending however negotiations go with CAT. So
CAD is contract administration.
Thank you. That was a software program.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's CAD. Okay. So we're,
Contract administration basically drives all the contracts that we insert, and so we have to follow their.
so we're gonna hope for October. We have them in here, be able to explain something.
Like, just clarification, so I mean, you say 60 days for the contract to be executed, and then is there a lead time for the actual contractor to get spun up?
yeah. So luckily on this
So I'm not sure if
project,
you were talking about actual start of construction, so.
We had for them to bring us up a plan, kind of a scope of what they're gonna be doing. That it's meet and greet, this is what we're doing.
Presentation of what it's actually
they can
doing.
talk about timelines, they can talk about their maintenance of traffic, their maintenance of traffic plan, all of that. They'll be able to come in and detail all of that information, the impact on that whole.
So along with Eric, I think you're just being realistic. Is it really gonna be October? Is that what you're going, it may not be because it's,
Well,
we're not August.
As far as being able to come and
Yeah.
present to us, provide an update, I mean, 60 days seems fine, but as far as like construction start, no, it's not gonna happen.
Okay.
But to be clear, we're not expecting construction to start in October. We'd like to have them come present in October or November. I don't want to guarantee.
Execution in October, but we are kind of ahead of the game on this project because all of that heavy permitting and all of that work that we had done for permitting is already done. That usually takes forever, but it's finished for this project for the utility permit.
How many bids did you guys get on that one? And are you within the budget scope that we have here?
We are, we've got 6.
And this budget is how, this project is how much?
It's 2.9. Budget on to the right.
On the 7 on your sheet.
But yeah, so my understanding is that we came in under what our.
Neighborhood park, 2.946 million. Is what we have budgeted for this park, and then how much is
I think that the bid come in around 2.7.
we have a cushion, if anything comes up.
So this project is 2.7. That's, a lot of investment into Drew Park, right? This wonderful park. And for those who don't know, our push behind this was that, there had been a park here in Drew Park. And, certain expansion, was, kind of airport expansion. Okay, I'm sorry, Eric. Took them out of the way. And we're trying to bring something back to the children of this area. So this is called, right now it's called Hubert Park, but we'll probably go through some sort of naming situation at some point, but right now it's on Hubert Avenue and it's got a lot of wonderful things and it is a great investment, I believe. And we've been working hard on it for it's 23. 22 was conceptual and 23 we started to, well, 22 was an idea, 23 was conceptual. And now, hopefully we can, please have a shovel in there before 26 is done.
Yeah,
please.
yeah. So that's what we're aiming for.
Okay, thank you. I'll let you move on.
So that's that project. Any questions? Any other questions? I'd like to move on to the next one. So, next up is our landscape streetscape project along Lois and Grady. Since the last time, we were here, it's just been under construction. So, all of the plants are in, the new irrigation system is in. If you drive down, Grady, you'll see that more than 200 bollards have been installed along Grady. And within the next couple of weeks, actually, I haven't had a chance to be out there this week, but they are putting the pavers in along Lois, starting near the college. And then I think where you're gonna see a lot of change is going to be in the roundabout, where the large planting is gonna be happening within the next week as well.
Okay.
So, these are some progress updates. You can see that a lot of the palms are in, a lot of the symmetry along both corridors has been reestablished. There's a couple of dead oaks right there at the beginning of Lois on the south side, I believe. And then again, major tree planting, major bollard installations along Grady. So there was a couple of requests for a time extension from that general contractor that you guys have met. It's going to be CAC Park. And we are going to be out there through late August, early September now. So they are finishing up.
And that project's work was, value right now is it 2.3?
Yep.
2.3?
That's strictly a single extension. We're not paying them any extra for that.
Just schedule. Yeah. There's some things that they needed to figure out. We stayed on budget, but the irrigation system working with the city park maintenance needed to be upgraded to forgive me, I don't know, like it's like a bubbler system versus what it was before. But I guess just a couple of quantifications here. It's 243 bollards installed along Grady. About 102 dead trees removed along both corridors and 80 new trees planted so far. And of course, that new irrigation system.
There's still more trees, I think, to be, if all the trees are in.
Call, there was a crosswalk discussed from the student housing on the other side. We were curious where that alignment, where the placement of that crosswalk ended up.
Yeah, so I had spoken with that team, and that's gonna be the project that.
Okay, that's coming up on this one. I just didn't know which project that was a part of. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
So we'll talk about that, but I did work in your team just to kind of deconflict, or with your team just to deconflict all of that. So more on
Thank you.
that. A couple of things I wanted to make sure I addressed with you, Paul, just as you're driving through. You will see that some of the new planting looks very dead right now. There is a moment where we were having to figure out our irrigation system. We didn't really skip a beat with watering the plants, so we're hand watering until everything is up and running and the pressure is right with that system. That should be right side by the end of this week, but again, in the meantime, we've been hand watering. Una, who some of you have met, some of you have not, is the landscape architect the architect on record helping us with all of the technical direction. She had put this plan together a few years ago. Assured us after looking at, all the plants and the varying species that some of the plants that look dead are not actually dead. And any plants that die are under warranty. So do not fret, they're taken care of, and anything that looks dead is not dead yet. There's a couple of palms that died that we actually replaced, so with the exception of that, we're still good.
So this one, yeah, this was the one that we've been, I think it was the first one that we started, and in 22 and got more along in 2023. It looks like I didn't realize it was into 2025 before it was completed. I believe it was 2024 that it has been completed, the design phase. But nonetheless, it's been
Yeah, so
always waiting.
I want you'll kind of see here that lapse between 2022 and 2025 before we finally finalize those plans. There was one iteration that was just sort of stalled and sitting there. When we had to go back and incorporate the bollards, that's why I kind of brought that all the way out to 25, just because I don't know, that was the reality of the design timeline. But it'll be like that for all of the projects, just so that everybody has a chronologic context of where we're coming from.
Yeah. So just as a statement, we've been working pretty hard since 2022, trying to get these projects through in 2023. So we have been busy working since then. Obviously, by what you're saying, things take time, and here we are.
Yes.
2026, this one's already started implementation, and the park's starting before 2026 ends. There'll be the shovels and there's some, right?
Yes. So we'll have we like to be pretty, ceremonious with us, so there's always going to be a nice groundbreaking.
Sorry.
Groundbreaking, so all of you guys will be there, and it's cool for the community.
Did we do a ribbon cutting for the streetscape?
You could.
Yeah, okay. Should we do a ribbon cutting for the
I
streetscape?
think we should.
Yeah.
Again, just as we're structuring this out, this is the second time the projects team is coming. It's important to us that this presentation also just is informational as far as our usual milestones and the other departments that we're working with. So I'd like you to see on average how long the permitting time takes for these projects, how long the bid process typically takes, how long construction can take. It's a park project versus landscape streetscape project. This one's different because there's a maintenance period after all is said and done for this. But again, please just pay attention, take this home with you, and if you have any questions about those timelines, just let me know. Also with this a couple of challenges that I also wanted to be transparent about. The issue that we had addressed with the bollards along Grady is also present along Lois, which is creating issues because Lois has an irrigation system where Grady does not. There's been a couple of instances, and this is just one here, that we had seen, I mean, in real time during our last field visit with Una, where folks are kind of hopping the curb, they are not using the right of way properly. This happens to be a unpermitted like parking lot of sorts along Lois. And it is an issue because there's been 2 or 3 times now where you can see here the irrigation system's being damaged. We had to bring someone out and replace it while we still have folks on contract. But this is a larger issue than just bollards. We're trying to talk to code enforcement about what's happening along both of these corridors. But in the meantime, for this particular site, we are going to install some bollards just to protect the irrigation system. It's a bad thing if the irrigation system goes down because all these plants that we just planted are going to die if that happens. And this is just another instance of that. So that's that.
That somebody needs to tag.
Sorry, on that last property, was there only one way in and out of that lot?
Yes, I forget what the cross street is, but on the other side, there's like a giant swale. So you have to enter along Lois.
Because that's would also be a code violation. If they
Yeah.
have one way in and out of the property. I'm just trying to think, obviously, if you put bollards up and this person's using it daily, your bollards are gonna be there until they get a truck big enough to pull them out there, so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think,
Yeah, so that's kind of like the interesting nature of this project is the like code enforcement approach versus the actual like engineering of the place. And incorporating that sort of mitigation in until we can figure out what we're gonna do with code enforcement on a more regular basis.
Mind if I jump in real
Yeah,
quick?
please.
I started talking to the TPD again about trying to get a community officer in the park again. I know you had the conversation before and they just weren't biting. So we're trying to talk to the major of the District 1, to see if we can get an officer who can be in charge of helping with code enforcement and helping with other issues in the community. Just with the way we have in East Tampa. So I started the conversation and I'll keep you all posted as I get more word. Literally just started big movement this last 2 weeks, so I don't have anything concrete to report yet, but hopefully that'll help us with these kind of interactions.
That's a good update.
All right, back to you.
Yeah, that's all I have for that project. Anybody have any questions? We're moving along from that one. All right, awesome. So, number 2, this is again the one that we're going to go to in some more detail as far as the actual plan to receive goes. But I think that it was important just to visually understand a little bit of the complexities and how we've gotten to this point in the first place. We had done the initial conceptual design starting in 2023. 2025, we had our initial work order to start working on the district-wide improvements. We had sort of revisited all of that to make sure that these 6 focus areas that were added to that scope of work were addressed. And so that what we call the additional speed took an additional 6 months that produced more recommendations, and those recommendations were those tier 1 through tier 3 structured recommendations that you guys had also voted on and that we had also talked about pricing wise. And so you can see that the speed study and the construction level design development all started in May of last year. All of the work that we've been doing for those 6 focus areas has been happening while BPA, the consultant that we have working on the drawings, we're working on the district-wide improvements. Those district-wide improvements to include the recommendations that came out of that speed study, again, are underway. We just received 90%, and that's what we're gonna go over in detail today, so that you all have an understanding of exactly which improvements are going to be, not proposed, which improvements made it onto the plans, and kind of our thoughts and your thoughts. Over the past 3 months since we last visited, we have been out there. The top 2 photos are just kind of a recap of the initial field walk that we had done for the speed study. The photos below is the mobility team, the stormwater team, and BPA, our consultant, doing some work in the field recently.
And the 2 of us.
Yeah, we're the 2. No, you're fine. Assessing stormwater conditions along Hale and Coolidge specifically, which is a part of the recommendations that you all had made a motion on for us to move forward on. So I would, we could talk about that for a moment, but I would reserve any questions for the actual presentation, if that's okay.
This project's cost is,
Well, we don't have the full budget for it yet, but that's the 12 million.
12 million, something like that.
Total.
So, go back a sheet. That initial conceptual design development, the 20 focus areas, the mobility department estimated that to be roughly like 2.5 to 3 million, depending on unit cost. The additional 6 focus areas, as approved by the CAC, was going to be an additional like 8 million on top of that, for a total investment or effort of just over $10 million. That is in flux, as they had a conceptual level, planning level cost estimate that we were working for or working from. And now that they have survey and are in design, what's possible out there is changing a little bit. So some of the drainage pipe that they thought may have been needed isn't. Some of the sidewalk that they thought they would have to, put further away can be closer. So right now, the cost estimate, I would say, is under that 10 million, but it's probably too early to give you a firm number, because Hale and Coolidge is in flux with like a major drainage decision right now with their stormwater department. I would say that the estimate is probably closer to 7 million for the total effort. But I have not received a cost estimate from the consultant reflecting that yet. That's just my estimate.
I'm doing my math right before we go into this presentation. We're right now about approximately Drew Park, as our CRA, has roughly $16 million worth of projects in play right now that we are moving forward, that we started in 22 and 23. So it's a lot of investment in Drew Park, right? A lot of great changes, a lot of big things that are going to be happening and we have in place. So we should be proud of ourselves. Thank you. Just wanted to make that statement.
So we will again come back to this in a little bit more detail. There are a couple of projects that are being overseen by our arts coordinator, Corey. The first one being the Gateway project. As you know, we have these awesome Drew Park signs, has a propeller, again, aeronautic and very branded for the district and for the neighborhood. This project was stalled while we were waiting for the 90% submission for the larger mobility project, because a lot of these are going to be placed, or we're trying to have them placed along Hesperides. So, you know, there are, based on the, improvements that we are going to make, a lot of these were stalled because we wanted to make sure that the placement of those gateway signs were done sort of with that larger mobility project considered. Now that we have those back, Corey and mobility, they're looking at, it's essentially being picked back up because now we can start to plan around where to best put them, or where to best place them, without them obstructing, you know, site and everything like that.
We don't want to place them and have to remove them again because of the project, so we don't want
Right.
projects colliding, yeah.
So, we're working through the permitting on that. That's supposed to go through September of this year. Fabrication and installation should happen by the end of this year as well.
Are all the signs in public right of way?
Yes. Yeah. In addition to those new signs, there have been a couple that were, prepared.
It's your turn.
Then, the last one, we had talked a little bit about this, but the signal boxes and that entire project is starting. That RFP was just pushed out this week.
I emailed everyone just now, a link, so you can all look at, I'll take a look at the bid, they're going out to call the artists. If we know any artists who you might be interested, who would be interested in submitting, please share that link with them.
So that RFP is gonna run through the end of October. And then for a couple of months, the arts committee, who, I think Corey had come in and done a presentation on what that process looks like. That'll run for a couple of months, and we are looking at, selecting the artists and executing the project first thing next year. I wanted to put pictures of a project that is similar within the CRA. So in West Tampa, we've done this earlier this year. Same process. Corey had also run point on that as well. And it's awesome. It's amazing. So the community has a huge part in making sure that Drew Park is going to be represented in
They have
the
to
art
go
selection.
on their committee.
And so, the same way, this is sort of a capture of West Tampa and its culture and, you know, its heritage. We're gonna be able to do that in Drew Park as well. Near future. So that's my presentation, just for something a little bit more high level on everything that we're working on and for that quarterly update. Did you all have any questions before we dive into the big presentation? Cool. So just as a little primer, again, just as a reminder, the mobility project, mobility, connectivity, and safety project is a project that is going to bring a lot of improvements to the district, just district-wide. Some of those improvements, we're gonna dive into it in detail, but improvements include better neighborhood access, lane striping, stop bar, intersection markings, enhanced drainage through focus areas, more continuous pedestrian routes, expanded pedestrian crossing at key intersections, improved bicycle connectivity, new and upgraded high visibility crosswalks throughout the district, traffic control enhancements, including center line stop bars, again, reflective signage, speed feedback signs, rectangular rapid flashing beacons as requested by this body, ADA curve ramps, gateway traffic calming features, et cetera, et cetera. So before we start, I wanted you all to have a couple of things out in front of you. The first one being in your folders. There is the speed study, and that's gonna be the package that has this little tab on it. The tab is marking where the recommended improvements are so that you all can kind of read along with us as we go through the plans themselves. The second one that I want you to look at is the recommendations given to us initially by Terra Tectonics. Let me see here. I don't think I have a copy, but it looks like this.
On the left side. Exhibit A.
Yes, so counting through them, there's like approximately 63 improvements that we are tracking. And so that is a list of everything that was approved by the CAC. That's a list of everything that we've been able to confirm is in this newest set. And if it's not in the newest set, we've worked on addressing why it's not in the new set and getting it added in the second iteration of it.
That's correct. So, well, we can go page by page, we can go in the specific areas of concern. However, the PAC would like to proceed. Some of these pages will be, not a lot to talk about, but we have the time, so.
And forgive my confusion, is this the project where the crosswalk that I was asking about is? Did we miss that one? No. Sure, thank you.
And the set of plans, you also have that in front of you. It was also sent to you, I believe, last week on either Thursday or Friday.
30.
The way that BPA has structured them, the first page is like I guess I'll just wait and show you all, but the first page is supposed to like section off the Drew Park district. And then there's going to be sheets that correspond to that particular section, which I think will make it easier for us to navigate together. If you guys have anything that you wanted to focus on within the plan. Go all the way up, I'm sorry.
Which one do you want me to start with? Plans?
Go ahead.
I can drive if you'd like.
They're all across the four tab, they're across. the
Okay.
Documents that will be referred to.
So as far as how crosswalks will work, to that question, that's probably going to be the best email on the set that has the S dash numbering in the bottom right hand corner. This is our signing and pavement marking sheet. So you recall which street specifically? The crosswalk,
It crosses Lois at far south.
far south, so Woodlawn right here, probably S6. So I'll go here. That looks like it's Woodlawn and one more. So in this spot, north is to the top of the page here. So this is a striped crosswalk on Woodlawn. And then this is a rectangular red flashing beacon. So the yellow flashing lights that you activate with the push button crossing Lois.
Thank you. And David, I'm looking at where that crosswalk is placed on Lois. Can we tell like where that is in relation to the entrance of the student housing?
It looks like it's at the bus stop. Is that where like that bit of curb cutout?
Right here.
Yes. That's what I'm
Okay.
thinking.
Okay.
This is a sidewalk going onto a campus, I believe.
Yeah.
This is that driveway. It's just south of Woodlawn. Right here, that connection point.
Okay. All right. I'll have to get my bearings a little more clearly and maybe follow up with the discussion. That's helpful. Thank you.
Mhm.
And is that, and what sheet is that on?
This is on the sheet labeled S-6 in the bottom right corner.
Thank you.
So I guess we can just go page by page.
Like if we're talking about crosswalks,
Mhm.
right? Can you tell us where the crosswalks are gonna be placed? How many crosswalks do we have coming in?
I don't believe we have a quantity, it's not quantified for our bidding process and included in the plan as a per crosswalk. It's by linear feet of paint, so it's hard to kind of discern the specific count. However, I can get that number and have that provided back to you.
Well, the reason is, it's kind of like, you know, this is great, and a lot of us here who are going to actually look into this, I understand, they will, we'll do that, okay? But for us that are a little bit more, like, when, it's interesting to know, okay, well then, for example, I was out on, Lois Avenue with, when there had been another accident on Lois and, let's say, Cayuga. I had been out there with, Riley, maybe?
Mhm.
Okay. And that's when I was informed that there was, the plans that they knew that there was a crosswalk going somewhere close to there with
Yes,
lights,
correct.
right? So that's when I was thinking, okay, well, how many new crosswalks are we getting and how many crosswalk with lights are we getting and where are they going? That, you know, that kind of thing. And then, you know, are we having sidewalks put in, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And what else other than crosswalk and sidewalks are part of this, you know? So maybe a little bit, but I'll leave you at the crosswalks.
Yeah, so it's, that is a very important question. However, it's hard to, I didn't realize that that was going to be a question. I would have come with that answer. However, we can get that answered by the end of today. We can either count this or I can show you each of those areas of concern and we can see.
So if I want to see where the crosswalks are going in, where would I
We,
look at every single and identifying them, you know, is that how it is?
no, I'll identify.
I'll identify them, you can look through where it tells you to look, is that correct?
If I were, I would suggest like, because I'm with you as far as, you know, layman interpretation of it. I would start here. I would start with this and with this, and anytime you see crosswalk improvement recommendations, it's gonna have a zone within, the park that we can drill into, which is kind of how I had gone through it and understood it, to just make sure that any of the recommendations that were handed off to the consultant were applied to this set. I don't know, that would be my recommendation.
I don't want to interrupt you anymore. I'll let you finish and
Okay.
then I'll hold off to my question.
So, if we were to go sheet by sheet, we'll see, kind of improvements as we go. However, if at any point we do have a question like that we want to drill into, we'll do our best. So this is at Air Cargo in Woodlawn. Here we're striking a crosswalk and providing continuous sidewalk from Air Cargo to the east over to Lois. Here at Woodlawn and is that Hubert? Yeah, Hubert. We are providing a marked crosswalk across the street. And that is not going to be a flashing sign, that'll be a static sign, just because it's a lower volume, lower speed road. With rebuilding some of the sidewalk here as it continues up towards north of Hubert. We're restriping the center line of Woodlawn here. We're doing which will be the double yellow. We're doing a new crosswalk crossing Woodlawn at Lois. And then the RRFB is the abbreviation for the flashing leaking crosswalk. We're doing that as we just previously discussed, just south of Woodlawn here. With a new sidewalk connection here and here.
Is that in the residential side?
Sorry.
Is that the residential side?
This,
Bottom left corner is Hawks Landing, right?
I'm not sure what's in this bottom left parcel
To
here.
the left is Hawks Landing, to the right.
This is HCC right here. This is HCC property
Oh,
on the right.
it's the HCC. Okay, so it is on the residential side, yes. Because Fox Lighting is on the residential side.
Okay, and so this is where we'll do our best to not get disoriented here. However, you can see this red square right here. This is north is to the right in this little graphic. This graphic is on each sheet of the plan set. The red rectangle is where we are currently looking at in the plan set. So this will jump probably to right here. But just, so we're not going, it may not be where you think it's gonna jump to, I guess is my point with that. So here we're at the intersection of Hubert, which is the left-right road here, so it's north to the right. And then this is Ohio. On this one, we have a new crosswalk, I believe, that's not an existing connection at Ohio and Coolidge. And then we are restriping and providing static crosswalk signs off of Ohio here at Ohio and Hubert, as well as striping across Hubert here.
Great, that's where the park's gonna be, so we're gonna have some safety around the corner.
And I don't believe we have the CAD files, the digital drawing files for the park, but we can request those and have our consultant include that in the plans as just a reference, not to be built under this contract, but just so it's, you can see it all as one picture when you look at this, and see how it connects. And I believe the park is going here, correct? So that'll be a nice crosswalk to service that western edge of the park.
That makes sense.
So let's see. So we're on S7, now we're gonna go to S8. S8 is continuing up Hubert, which is north is still to the right. Here at Coolidge and Virginia, we're striping 2 legs of the intersection with static signs. We're also, let's see if I can do this and make it a little bit easier to see. For these static signs, it's the yield condition, so that hopefully that that'll alert, it's meant to alert drivers. Here's where you stop safely to let pedestrians cross. You see a pedestrian ready to cross, and that is a Florida law. Then here down at Hubert and Virginia, we have sidewalk coming. This is new sidewalk being built on the south side of Virginia, continuing down along here. Are there any questions so far? Keep going, different format. Okay. So this is the next sheet north, still on Hubert. Here we have a little bit of sidewalk, and this is an extended driveway that is getting resurfaced so that it's like a firm, nice walking surface. But it will stay asphalt. In this plan set, it's still just shown the same shading as the concrete. But then the sidewalk is continuing north here. This is MLK Boulevard and Hubert. So we're striping a new crosswalk. This will have a flashing beacon crosswalk to cross MLK. And then new or rebuilt sidewalk coming over here to cross Hubert again. And then the sidewalk, instead of being on the east side of Hubert, will be on the west side of Hubert. And it's continuing north. And these larger shapes that you see every so often are driveways that are being either resurfaced or rebuilt in some way. And this should be our last sheet on Hubert as a main line, as the primary road here. But you'll see the sidewalk is continuing with striping across. I don't see a label here. This may be a driveway or an alleyway, but there's a stop bar, a painted crosswalk, and the sidewalk is continuing northward here.
Bradley, can I interrupt you for 1 second? Yep. I might need an answer for the S78 park.
Oh, so our consultant has joined the call apparently. And he counted 78 new crosswalks, or 78 crosswalks that are being marked as a part of this project. Some may be remarked that are existing, just getting refreshed, and that also will include the new ones as well, but 78 crosswalks.
Total. See, tell him thank you if he's listening. That's significant to know and something that we can relate to the community. I'm saying, so those are relatable nuggets. They're not really nuggets, they're big things that we can say, hey, this is what's going on. And so thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
So here we are at Hubert and Alva. Hubert and Alva is getting all 4 legs marked crosswalks. you'll see here, these are the speed feedback, speed limit signs. So they'll flash at you the speed that you're traveling and over a certain threshold to, avoid the high score behavior. It just says slow down, but it's to
Oh.
bring attention to the fact that you are going faster than the intended speed, which on Alva is 25 miles an hour, which we know is frequently exceeded.
25 or lower.
Mhm. So at this point, we get to a little bit of, let's see, is this gonna be the next sheet? It is not. Right here, we're seeing a little bit of on-street parking being added just east of the intersection of Hubert and Alva. It says, see the plan on S17. So how this works is instead of the next page being down here, we may jump to somewhere else. But the continuation of this work is shown on S17. So here we are, we're back on Ohio now. North is to the top. This is a crosswalk crossing at Manhattan. Or is that Manhattan or? Yeah, Manhattan. With a newer rebuilt sidewalk connection to the roadway, and I believe that's a new connection right here as well. Yeah, this little bit right here is the new, it's not a curb ramp, it's just a sidewalk connection from the existing back here to the roadway. That'll have the detectable warning surface for like ADA compliance as well. So all of these will have the detectable warning surface for ADA compliance. So this is Ohio and Lois. This is a restriped crosswalk with stop bar. This darker shape here is a milling and resurfacing shape, so they're refreshing the pavement in that section. And the PGA report, the speed study report that you have in front of you, it had recommended like black contrast paint to help emphasize it. But we are resurfacing the pavement because it kind of accomplishes two goals of refreshing the pavement as well as providing that fresh asphalt on white paint contrast. Okay, so this is Virginia and Lois. This is a continuation of new sidewalk on the south side of Virginia, 3 driveways being resurfaced or rebuilt in some way. This is connecting to the existing sidewalk that's right here. This little bit right here is existing sidewalk. And again, restriping the crosswalk and the stop bar. Now we are on S14. This is the intersection of MLK and Hesperides. MLK was recently resurfaced, so there's not a lot of pavement, or I don't think any pavement or marking improvement along MLK, except for where a new crosswalk may be installed. But we do have, I believe this is new sidewalk on the north side of MLK here. And this driveway is being reconstructed. You can see a little bit of this up here, which we'll get to towards the end of the set. This is another thing that came out of the speed study recommendations, but on-street parking for Hesperides.
I think going back to what Rachel was trying to get at, as far as, I don't know if you have quantities breakdown, how many linear feet of new sidewalk is being proposed, right? How many new parking spaces are being proposed as part of this project?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we need to go through every slide, I'm sorry, but but just highlighting some of these high points. If that's what you're trying to get at here.
Well, yeah, I mean, so we can have something we can digest and, when we go out there in the community, say, hey, we're getting 78, it's part of what we're doing is 78 new crosswalks. We're getting X amount of sidewalks, right? So basically this project is crosswalk, sidewalks, help me out.
Crosswalks, sidewalks, speed management devices in the way of speed feedback signs, flashing beacon crosswalks, which acts as a speed management device. Striping currently unstriped roads, which acts to reduce speed. And then on-street parking, which acts as like a side friction or speed slowing element as well.
So going back to Eric, and I, for everybody's time, I guess this is where you're going, right? You need. So yeah, so that description was absolutely great. And with the 78 that we're talking about crosswalks. So the purpose of crosswalks and the sidewalks is really the connectivity part of this project, right? And the safety and the mobility, and the speeds, obviously with the safety part, and really requires the safety, so we have, help me out, we needed, connectivity, mobility, and safety. So a lot of these things we're doing, is under safety. The additional parking, has to do with, the safety as well as, we got a place to, because we're really short on parking here. We're all struggling with that, right? Does that define the project?
I would say very accurately, yes. As far as a number of parking spots, on-street parking spots, again, I wasn't prepared for that type of question. I thought we wanted to do a page review, so I don't have that answer. However, I can get that for you and provide it to Felix and Megan. They can provide that answer.
Consultant, are you listening?
I'm checking to see if you said something.
Consultant, are you listening?
Bill for the Steve stall.
So, okay, so this is, because I'm picking up a vibe here, so, and I also don't wanna, you have like 100 pages here, right? Is there something you want to jump at? Because this is really what we need. This has been amazing what you've done right here, because that gives us a visual and the feedback that you've given us of how many, description.
I would say that it is what we asked for. This
Yeah.
is fantastic and it
Yeah.
helps us understand in much more depth what's happening. And so, my question was localized to a specific intersection. I don't know if others have particular areas of interest closest to your homes or businesses, but I would dive into whichever page you wanted to.
And even the couple that we looked at here and you want to see and a few others that we just went through at a pretty granular level, it's gonna make it a lot easier for us to, go home and on our own time read through it too. So this is exactly what.
Can you confirm, do they have the roadway set and the signing and marking set? Okay, so
Question though,
Yes.
like on Coolidge, there's, and we covered this, forgive me. But there's, speak of drainage, can you give me a little scope
Absolutely.
of what's going on with the drainage?
yes, so
Yeah, obviously drainage, it's huge stormwater, that was mostly, what was that, north to south, I think it was, but we didn't get to the east to west, so.
yeah, so I'm gonna jump away from the signing and marking set that shows all the pavement markings.
Thank
We
you.
go to the roadway set, which this shows a little bit more geometric detail that was happening in terms of like at each spot in the roadway here. So Coolidge and Hale both had drainage concerns. Well, they actually had roadside safety concerns. There's existing ditches on those roads that per Florida engineering standards, which we use in Florida Green Book in the city of Tampa, they do not meet the safety requirement of a safe slope to be adjacent as close as it is to the roadway. So we are working with our consultant to figure out the right balancing act of letting in an existing ditch that is functioning fine for drainage and has not caused documented safety concerns or would be a large kind of lift to address the need at that drainage ditch, letting that stay through the means of a variation or piping it in to have a closed drainage system, therefore eliminating the ditch or some hybrid between those two kind of ends of it. So Coolidge and Hale both are not shown in this set. Our consultant is working closely with our stormwater department to figure out what is the preferred method, what's maintainable, what gonna perform during the storm.
That was the walkthrough they did last week.
I'm really glad to hear that because I, for one, probably had to, seen a lot of trucks inside ditches,
Mhm.
pickup trucks.
I would say when we were doing the code
Hard.
review, it was hard to find a spot to park because pretty much every spot was.
Also will help with parking. And that's one project that was just thrown out as an idea. I think I did it or you did it. I don't know, Felix, I don't know. I'm sorry?
We talked about it, yeah.
Yeah, about maybe that being another project in the future after looking at this, because we gotta continue our projects to look at those drain, piping those in.
And so I'll restate that the consultant is actively working on that.
That's
It's not,
wonderful.
yeah, it's not going to necessarily be all of them are getting piped in because that's becomes very expensive.
Mhm.
However, we are doing it with kind of keeping in mind the balancing act of having enough spots for the stormwater to go, having enough inlets for the amount of water that comes to the side of the road, and the cost and the construction impacts, because sometimes to dig down those pipes to hit the elevations that you need to hit, it has a bigger footprint than just the 18-inch pipe.
Really glad, because I had a conversation with a neighbor this week. He said after the work that was done in Lois, their property where he works out of is now floods, and it's been flooding for years now after the improvement, because I don't know anything, but something about the pipe being too low to where the ditch is, so the ditch is empty, but the parking lot is full, and so something like that, what I didn't quite understand, but what I understood was that one job can actually, impact something else that was at one point working. And
That's correct.
yeah, and so it called my attention because this conversation was just yesterday, and as well as, as some of us know that this has been, just in case you need to know this, there's a lot of trucks that end up there or cars or what have you, because once it rains, you don't know where the ditch starts. When those ditches fill up, you have no idea where the ditches stop, and someone who's doesn't know, takes the curb or just sways because of some reason, and boom, they're in there. So thank you for paying attention to that.
Yep.
That's a big win. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
But I mean, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. If you guys have specific things that you want to look at, you can jump there. Or we can try and find an answer to kind of specific things like number of parking spots. I don't have that.
I understand that, but I think with what Eric was saying on the number of this, and that would be good for us to be able to get back to our community and say, hey, this is what's happening in Drew Park, that we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing it at the park, blah, 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 and it gives us a sheet to be able to say that. When this comes to a little bit of an end, I do have something to state, so I'm gonna let you finish and then I'm gonna say something.
Well, there's a lot still to go through. I need to know what you all
Yeah,
would
if
like
you
to see.
give them some specifics or else we'll lead you to
You
your
want me to
device.
go to-
Just a quick question. So on the roadway plan, so on some of the legends, I'll just pick one, sheet 5. You had say proposed concrete construction, and then some of them are 6-inch thick concrete, and then proposed mill in, basically the mill overlay.
Mhm.
So do we know, what are the discrepancies between the concrete thickness on some of the sidewalks out of the same versus?
So when the sidewalk is separated from the edge of the roadway, this lighter gray dashed line right here, this is the edge of the asphalt, and then the sidewalk is, let's say 3-4 feet off. This is going to be 4-inch thick sidewalk because it's not expected to bear vehicle traffic. Right here, adjacent to the roadway where you see a curb ring
Yep.
or a sidewalk that's connecting from an offset sidewalk to the edge of the roadway, you expect to see some vehicle traffic from people off tracking during the turns. That is 6-inch thick sidewalk because it can bear vehicle weight without crumbling or for a longer period of time. As far as the milling and resurfacing, that's going to be asphalt. And that's going to vary by location. If I go up here. So down, these are the typical sections, which is, if you imagine taking like a pie slice of the roadway, that is what these are showing. In general, what's going to happen, there's specific differences at each spot, but this is kind of like here's what we're going for. type of representation. And there'll be 1.5 inches of pavement removed and replaced with fresh pavement.
In that area next to the student housing I was focused on, I estimate that the crosswalk is 150 feet south of Woodlawn. And I'm still having trouble picturing where that actually will end up relative to the bus stop. I can see the bus stop on the aerial photos, but I can't see that on the drawings. Our fear is that if it's too far north, students will have to go up to the north, across, and back down to the south to enter campus. And that's likely not gonna happen. They're just gonna, we're gonna miss the entire flow of students that it's intended to serve. And so that's kind of why I'm trying to pinpoint where that thing is, because the 20 feet difference is gonna make, or 20 feet is gonna make a big difference.
You go to.
Is page S6 the better image of that location? 'Cause that's, if you go to that, yeah,
Well, hold on.
Open up the Google.
Yeah, where, they asked me to go to S6 real quick.
I'm sorry.
yeah, 'cause when you,
six.
yeah, because on the printed map, it kind of washes out, but here, I think it shows a little better.
Yeah, thank you.
So you're correct, it is about 150 feet south of the Woodlawn intersection.
Yep.
It's very there. It's approximately 154 new on-street parking spaces.
154 new on-street parking spaces.
100 how much?
154.
154. Thank you, consultant.
I thought that answered your question.
Okay.
Can you type in maps or Google Maps?
I'll just need 5 minutes. Okay, that's the other question.
But I think there is a gate cutout, there's a path that kind of goes to the campus. This bus stop, no, this crosswalk is getting closer to that alignment. Because it splits between the bus stop and that cutout of the gate,
Right.
get to the walkway.
So it looks like it's about in the middle of the word lowest here
Okay,
on this portion.
okay. Now I know that you can't put one in the middle of that driveway, so that's good information. Does that look consistent, David, with what we were talking about before?
Where you see the box, the white, yeah, I keep going a little bit further. Can you move that? No, move the image to the top. The other way,
Oh,
the other way. Yes, you can't see it now, but because this is an old Google, there's now a walkway that the school has put in right here. It goes through
and if I
and it
go,
winds through, it goes to the
if I
walkway.
go back here, you
So
can
that's
see,
not showing.
this is the walkway right here.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
Oh,
Okay.
that works.
great, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that confirmation. I was asked about that specifically, and I can tell them we're good. Thank
So
you.
that's the safety part of our of our project.
Going back to the 1.5 inch mill and overlay,
Mhm.
so is that suitable for the busier roads that have a lot of trucks?
The busier roads that have trucks, no, we would expect it to be a little bit thicker. And that is one aspect that, we can discuss with our consultant is on heavily roads with higher truck percentage doing a 2 or 2.5 inch thick, mill and resurface. For example, MLK, which is a major road, it just had, I believe it was 3 and 3.5 inches milled and resurface. I can't say for certain that these roads don't get that traffic, but I imagine that they get less truck traffic than MLK. So I wouldn't expect it to be to that level, but it could go to 2, 2.5. And that would be based off engineering inspection of that. But we'll discuss that with them.
Something to keep in mind that I know if we think of the major roads, like maybe the MLK or Hillsborough or Air Parker Road, a lot of the semis that are coming in and dump are inside. They're not necessarily on Martin Luther King. They're coming in maybe off of Delaware, and now they're in this, in the square there. So any one of these, there are some that have more, traffic with, Osborne has a lot of traffic with trucks. South has a lot of traffic with trucks. Crest has a lot of traffic with trucks. Those are just some. So it's a good point that he's saying, because they tear that up.
If there's multiple more questions, if you want to go public to me, I'll bring.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, so we're committing to the, if you have any additional questions that come up after, I'll thought about, after reviewing it, send them to me and I will communicate with Riley and get you the answers.
Number one, I want to thank you all three for the presentation here today. It's been absolutely wonderful, very detailed. I think it makes us, it's, like, could be between 10 and 11 million dollars that's being spent here. So now that we understand a little bit more where this investment is, because, y'all don't have the mind of where all this might have been, would have been told previously. So this is really great. The fact that we have 78 crosswalks and 154 on street that we can talk about also is great, because that allows us again to share what's going on. Do you know when this is going to start? Are there some quick projects, or how are we doing on that?
So the way that we're approaching this is these are 90% plans. We're expecting the design to be able to be finalized within the city departments, engineering departments are still in review of the plans. It just started this week. It's like a 2-week review period, and then the consultant will need to update any plans or, figure out any design decisions that come from that. I think we were targeting November originally to have plans ready to be bid. I believe that we are going to use our citywide contractor contract to avoid having to go out to a competitive bid, because we've already done that work with them and just utilize an existing contract that we have. So in theory, I would think that it would be early 2027 that we could start building the whole plan set. We did not separate out any build or like just striping improvements as a separate effort or project. So it is intended to all get built at the same time or under the same contractor.
So you're telling me, like, the beginning of 2027, which could be January, February, right? The final, well, we have the design, the final build out would be ready. No,
So we would get the final plans, it's called signed and sealed when the engineers are done with it. We'd get signed and sealed plans in November, and then the mobility department and contract admin department, we would use one of our existing contracts with a contractor to build it. So we avoid that multiple month process of bidding it.
Skip all that procurement process,
And
that takes forever.
In theory, it's just the 4 to 8 week period of time to get the contract signed by all the parties. And then like 30 days to mobilize, which means then getting their,
March.
yeah.
We're looking maybe the end of March.
No, I would say November's signed and sealed plans. 8 weeks is like December, January, and then 30 days. So I would say mid-February would,
So first quarter.
First quarter.
I would-
That's great
That's
to
good to
hear.
hear.
That's great. So I promised to tell you something, and, well, in summary, what I want to say, just, this has been a great presentation. I think that the fact that we can say, we have 2.7 million in the park, correct me if I'm wrong, 2.3 in the beautification. Another 10 to 11, in this huge project. And we have a total of 16 to 17 million dollars that are being put into Drew Park at the moment. And we have been building and designing this out from 2022 to 2023, 24, here in 26, and we're reaching, the end here, up for build outs. Okay. I think that's great. I think this crowd, yeah, okay, this board can be very proud of the work that we've done. I mean, I really, and throughout the years, the other board members that were here, Susan was here to hear this as well. I think this is, with all the help of everybody we've had, and Felix, you stuck with us, the various managers that have been around as well. I think this is a good place to be. There's a lot going on in Drew Park. It's evident here, and we've been at it, and we are starting to see, you know, the results of all our hard work throughout these years, and this is absolutely amazing. So I thank you. I did say I wanted to say one thing is, I have to admit, when I got this, it was a bit overwhelming because, I mean, my friend here knows how to read this and so does Eric and probably you and everybody. I don't. Okay, so, my friend Allison was able to help me put some summary together just because to wrap our arms around it. And I'd like to, if permission to Allison to test the copies, if we can pass them out, so that just may help you out in the community to say, you know, this will help, because this is what we need to get back to our communities and say, you know, there's 78 crosswalks, there's 154 on this street, this is happening, that's happening. So if she can pass that out.
You asked me, it's your,
Yeah, no, if you can just pass them out, yeah, it's okay. I mean, we don't have to go over them now, but it's just something to help us kind of summarize in some of the streets and some of the things that are going on. Because we do have to go out to the community and say, you know, all these things. That's why these numbers are, you don't know how important these numbers are. Because, you know, at least I get the questions, you probably get the questions, you may get the questions, you know. Susan gets the questions, and this will be, so I just wanted to kind of share this with you, and it would, something just help out so we can communicate to our people. And when you get the additional information that, yeah, I think Eric brought up, that's gonna be really, really good for us. Because there's a lot of good work being done. Right? And this is taxpayers' money. So we need to be able to share this and say, hey, look at all the great stuff that's happening in Drew Park. Because there is, it is, and it has been going on. But we need to be proud, I'm proud of it. And I have the faces, I see the rest of the people watching. So thank you. And so, okay, so, if you have any questions on what was passed out, or take a minute with it, but other than that, it's really just a tool for you. Okay. All right. Allison, thank you very much. Okay, so we are at, new meeting dates, I believe.
No, we start on the third,
I'm sorry,
the third action item.
we do, what do we got?
Oh, yeah, new meeting dates, you said that, never mind, sorry.
I mean,
I apologize.
I'm really happy, thank you. And, I want to take a look at it, I should give you a minute to take a look at this, but, this is just going through the package and trying to highlight some things. It's not an all-inclusive, but it just kind of helps out, right? So, thank you again.
Yeah, for action item 3, this room is available in September and October.
Yeah,
It is,
I just got word from,
great, so we'll be meeting here, wonderful, thank you.
well, I have to wait to see, are they available on these two new dates? That's what I have to verify.
Okay.
Because she thinks that we're doing the first Wednesday, so I have to
First
verify.
Wednesday.
I need you all to approve the change of the date for the next two meetings, and then I'll reach out and verify that it's available to
Okay,
them.
yeah.
Anything, any new business?
What do you need to make a motion to
To what?
change the date for the next two meetings for the
We're
second?
changing the date, so it'll be in the right
Yeah,
now?
there's a memo in there and everything.
Okay, well, guess I didn't read the numbers. All right, so,
I'm asking, we were willing, able to move to the next, September meeting and the October meeting for the second Wednesday of the month, for both months.
want to make the motion?
And this is, it's a personal request I'm asking, it's for my
And-
medical reason, so it is would help.
I can't make a motion to somebody
Right.
else.
But it does it work for everyone, I have to make sure everyone's scheduled.
I'll make a motion to move it to the second Wednesday of both September and October.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Anything else?
Thank you. And I'll be calling tomorrow to verify if those two dates are available for here. I'm sure they will.
The only, it's not new business, it's not an announcement, I just wanted to,
Oh, wait, does anyone want to review any of the trackers or project reports or anything?
I think we've got a great presentation here.
Budget, well, I just don't know if the budget has been updated finally with the reprogramming that you all approved a few months ago for FY 26, so it's current and up to date with all the changes that you all approved. And so
Guys, if
you
you
can
have
take a look through there. You can see the funding is there now for the mobility, the 6
From
million.
what the CRA approved. Yes,
Well, you
yes.
all recommended and the
And we
CRA board approved, yes,
Yes.
in July.
Thank you.
It's been, the updates have been made,
So we're good. So
We're good.
We can spend it.
yes.
It's
It's
legit.
clear today, this is the money we have to spend and we're
We're legit on it. Anybody have any questions on the fact? So the only thing that I wanted to say is thank you very much for those who were able to participate with the town hall community meeting that we had here at HCC. Thank you in our turn regarding the race presentation. I appreciate it. So a lot of good points came up. As far as I do know, when I am asked, because as a president of CAC, or if I go, you know, in front of CRA, what have you, you know, I just reiterate everything that was, you know, mentioned that day and brought up on that day. And you guys already know what was said at that point, and so I'm asking, so what I continue to say is the same thing that you know, was derived from that meeting. And so I just wanted to be very clear and for you guys to know that, because, you know, I do get approached every so often, and, you know, I go back to whatever was said, you know, as close as I can remember to that meeting. And I did make notes, so I don't mess up too much. Okay, but I did want you guys to know that. Okay, anything else? This is a great meeting. Thank you very much. I'm really happy and proud of this board. We've done such great work. Thank you for everyone here.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Anyone want a second?
Second.
All in favor? Anyone? No? Okay, we're gone. Thank you so much for everybody. And thank you for all our guests that were here today. I appreciate it.